We're BrainGain magazine from New Delhi. We're live, and I'm chatting here with Dr. Seturaman Panchanathan of Arizona State University, and he goes by Punch, right?
That's correct.
Punch?
Yes.
Okay, great.
A compressed form of my name. Yes.
And so I wanted to ask him a few questions, and we welcome your questions as well. So do write in. Dr. Panchanathan, you have studied here in India and then studied abroad. You are now the Executive Vice President at Arizona State University, and you are also you have been quite a pioneer over there in many respects. Can you tell me a little bit about your journey as a student? When you started off in India, you studied at top institutions like IIT Madras and IISc Bangalore, and then you went on to do your PhD in computer engineering from University of Ottawa. So can you tell us a little bit about how your education here prepared you and what you were unprepared for? What were the challenges and surprises that you faced as a student?
A very good question, Amma. Thank you for asking that. So before I got into the IISc and IITs, I did my first undergraduate degree in physics. The reason I emphasize this is because it really helped prepare me for thinking about things in a much more broader way than just only directly into engineering. So it really helped me to set the stage, if you may. And then that prepared me well for going into the Indian Institute of Science for my undergraduate degree and then to the master's degree at IIT Madras. One of the privileges that you have, and I'm most grateful to India for having given me that strong foundation to my parents and to the institutions and my teachers. I'm very, very grateful. The reason is that what you get in India is very high quality education that is delivered by faculty members who are selfless and focused on making sure the students get the best possible educational outcomes. But added to that, you have your ecosystem of your fellow students who are so bright and have high aspirations. So when you're working with them as a team, it really raises you up. So it's not only what you do by yourself, but what the entire ecosystem does for you. And I tell you, that is the one that academically prepared me when I went to Canada at that time to do my PhD. So you asked me what were the surprises for me in Canada. So one of the things that I did not have as much of an exposure in is to do independent work, right? So you typically are trained to do certain kinds of work, and you do it well, and you work with your fellow colleagues, and you also push yourself hard, and you do well. But what you really don't get as much of is to do as much independent work. At least I did not have that experience as much as I ever wanted. So when I went to Ottawa, my advisor, his name is Morris Goldberg, highly independent researcher and highest possible quality researcher. One of the things that he emphasized to me is that I had to find the problem that I need to solve, that he was not going to tell me, you solve this problem, nor was he going to meet with me on a regular basis to sort of steer me to the solution of the problem. Instead, he said, you figure out the problem and you'll also figure out the pathway to solving the problem. What I am going to do is to be your mentor, where I'm going to sit with you, have conversations, guide you, tell you if I think that what you're taking may or may not work, to the best of my knowledge. And relying on me as it is your problem, you're owning it, and therefore you should be able to have the authoritative approach to solving the problem and have the command. So that helped me a lot, is to develop the quality of independence. So that was a surprise to me, and it was a very enriching experience for me when I went to Canada. And
that sounds great. Yeah, and I think that is something that's probably a common enough story, that people do learn how to work independently when they go to another educational system. They have all the support here. I had a couple more questions for you about studying abroad. One is, today more and more young Indians are going abroad for higher studies. The numbers are growing.
Yes.
And today do I apply? What if I haven't heard of some school? Is it good or bad? So there is so much confusion,
Yes.
and there are so many priorities to juggle, what to study, because the fields have grown, specialized, there's so many interdisciplinary things. So what do I study? Where do I study? How do I fund it? So what would be your advice to students who would like to go abroad to arrange their priorities? How should I prioritize? What should I look at? What should guide my decision-making process if I want to study abroad?
Very good question again, Oma. So what I find is that the first thing that you need to introspect, what is it that I want to get up every day and feel excited by? I often tell many youth who come to me seeking advice, what should I do with my career? Not only here, but even in the United States, you have people who come to you and say, what should I do? So I tell them, what is it that if you did, you know that you will be very passionate, and there's something you feel will take all your intellectual ability, capability, and excitement and energy, and take every day as something that you want to really face the challenge and do some really significant things. And you may or may not know what it is. So you may have an idea. I want to pursue the field of art or media, or I want to be a humanist, or I want to be a social scientist, or I want to be an engineer or a computer scientist, whatever that might be, or I want to be in the business world. So first you need to figure out what that is that excites you the most. And sometimes you may not know that, and that's fair. So this is why you need to go to a university that gives you the opportunity to not pigeonhole you into one thing right away, but gives you the breadth of opportunities to test things, so that you might figure that what you're passionate about is this. Okay? And that's one of the things that I find very exciting about the United States or North America, but in other parts of the world, where you're given the opportunity to figure out things even as you're pursuing your undergraduate degree. Okay? You might have entered a computer science program because you thought it might be interesting, but you might find, I really like this, this aspect of cognitive science, and that's psychology. Maybe I want to pursue that. So you could either change your major, or you could do a major and a minor, or you could have two majors. You want to go to a place that gives you the opportunity to do all of those kinds of things. Okay? Secondly, I will tell you, if you're interested in a curiosity-driven approach, then you want to go to a place which sort of takes that as one of the things that they want their students to experience. And so you want to go to a research university, for example. A research university, typically you will find faculty members that are working on curiosity-driven projects. So you might latch yourself with somebody that you align with. For example, you might find a faculty member who's working on robotics to solve problems on security, for example, right? And you might find, this is something that I really want to do. And so you latch yourself and you test yourself there. So it gives you a chance to do that. The third thing very, very, very important for parents to focus on is to make sure that they are providing the environment for their children to exercise their passion and their intellectual spirit. Oftentimes, if we make the plans for the children, then right there you have curbed the creativity of the child, right? So at the same time, I understand as a parent, you're worried about the fact that you want to make sure that they have a gainful employment, a good life, a good quality life. All of that is important, and I'm not taking that away from parents, and all parents worry about that. But it doesn't have to be therefore thought about as, therefore they have to do X, Y, or Z, and that's the only path that they will have. Instead, I have found that when you let your child express their creativity and their passion in whatever discipline that they want to pursue, believe me, no matter what, they will be successful. Success is about, how best you're able to take your talents and express it. And success is about being happy with it. Okay, those are two measures of success, not the financial success, but success in life, which is about being happy. And I can, if there is time, I will tell you the story of my own daughter, which I shared in one of the One Globe meetings. My daughter came to me, and when she was in grade 8 or 9, she came to me and she said, I asked her the question, so what do you want to do with your life? And she said to me, well, I want to be a videographer. Right? I want to go to USC, I want to do videography and so on. I said, that's fantastic, that's great. And then grade 10, she got to meet more friends, and one of her friends' mom was a psychologist. So she went and saw her at work. She thought, wow, she's doing amazing work. Dad, I want to be a child psychologist. I said, well, that's fantastic. You can help people. And then grade 11, she came to me again and she said, Dad, I find that I'm excited by the fact that nursing is a great profession. They're able to help people. They're able to make people feel better. I want to do that. I said, fantastic. You're going to help people. You should do that. And then you have to make choices soon. So grade 12, she said, I like nutrition. I think, that's a good way of, for people to be healthy and so on. And I want to be part of that. And by the way, my teacher in economics inspired me so much. I like economics also. I said, both are fantastic. You can do great things. You can help people. So I kept repeating this. So when she was applying for her undergraduate degree in grade 12, so she then asked me, Daddy, you've been asking me what I want, what I want to do. What do you want me to do? Mm-hmm. I said, I want only one thing from you. And that is, I want you to be happy all your life. Whatever choice you make, I want you to be happy all your life. That's all I want from you. So she chose economics because she was inspired by an economics teacher. Here is another message, that teachers inspire our students. Parents inspire our students. So it's a humongous responsibility as a teacher myself. It's a humongous responsibility on us to inspire the next generation. Right? So there's also a call out to the teachers who do an amazing job in India for me. As I said in the beginning of this interview, I'm so grateful to my teachers. They inspired me, right? So likewise, I find that once she got inspired by the economics teacher, she then took the path. Guess what happened? She said, I don't want to get into medicine at all. That's what she told me because my wife is a physician. She said, I don't want to go into medicine. I said, fine. And then it turned out that the Haiti earthquake happened. My wife went to do some volunteer work there to help children there. And so she tagged along with her. She was just completely blown away by the opportunity to help people. So she came back and said, I want to go to medical school.
Wow.
So she finished her economics degree, did her pre-health minor and went to medical school. Right? So I appreciated the fact that she took that path to the medical school that way, where she saw the passion, where she saw how she could help people, and now she's all excited in the journey. And that's what I would say to parents, is not that they have to do what I did. It's not what I'm suggesting. Everybody has their own journey. But keep in mind that every child has got the intellectual prowess and the creativity and their passion. See what best meets that and expose them to a lot of things. Instead of just sending them to coaching for this or that, send them to BrainGain to do an internship in summer, right? They can do a voluntary internship for BrainGain, right? And then they will learn so much because they're interacting with you, Uma and Harjeev and so many other folks, and they will learn other things. So this is something that we need to encourage our children to do more of.
That's wonderful.
A long-winded answer to us.
No, but that's a wonderful and inspiring story, and I hope that it will. I'm sure it will inspire a lot of our viewers. I also wanted to ask you a little bit about creating this atmosphere where this interdisciplinary exploration, these kinds of things are possible. So you have yourself been a pioneer at Arizona State. You started the School of Computing. You've been instrumental in starting the Biomedical Informatics Center. You have also started the center which develops technologies for people with disabilities. And some of the flagship project of that center has won a lot of acclaim.
Yes.
So what would you say, what is it about Arizona State that enabled you to to start so many things, to be so pioneering, and what is the lesson in that for other schools and universities? What are these great strengths that other schools could also, universities in India perhaps, could also gain from or learn something from? What is the takeaway from this that made this possible?
Again, a very, very good question. I think it's very well put. So what it is the following. If you take the university as not just a place that people come to take some courses and get a degree and move on, if you now take that mission, which is important, and then you layer on top of that you are responsible to the well-being of the community that you are embedded in. That you take responsibility, fundamental responsibility for the well-being of the community. And you can define the community whichever way you want, right? You can define it as a particular town that you are in or city, or you can define it as a state that you are in, you can define it as a nation that you are in, or you can define it as a globe. For different things, different segments may be the constituencies that you are going to be serving. Now you say, if I take fundamental responsibility as ASU to make sure that the water problems of Arizona are addressed by what comes out of ASU, or if I take the sustainability of the planet and the global nature of the sustainability question, and if I take fundamental responsibility for addressing that, then what happens is the way you project everything that happens in the university is very different. Okay? Firstly, if you want, as I said earlier, if you want to solve a problem like sustainability or health or energy, whatever that might be that you take as a global challenge, and you say that if I want to solve it, I need to bring the multidisciplinary inspirations to solving the problem. Okay, that's the first thing. And the more you say that the economic vibrancy of the region that you are in is going to be impacted by what the university does, then you become a great partner for many entities. Like for example, for us, Intel is a significant partner. They're located in Arizona, they're a significant partner. And so are many other small companies, medium companies, and large companies. So you take fundamental responsibility for that. Mayo Clinic, which is the #1 medical school in the nation, and hospital in the nation now, they are strategic partners with ASU. Why would Mayo want to work with ASU, right? It's because of the fact that Mayo is a medical school, a world-class clinical establishment. ASU is a comprehensive research university. So what we bring to the table is, in addition to the biomedical informatics and other things that we do and engineering, but we also bring social, behavioral, cultural. So when we talk about the future of health, it's not about illness, it's also about wellness. And wellness is all about the social, behavioral, cultural issues that needs to be factored in. So then you start to think about health in a much more holistic way, right? And so Mayo Clinic is a partner. So through partnerships, okay, through taking responsibility for the region that you are in and for solving global and national problems and solving them in a comprehensive way, okay? All of these objectives, if you have as an institution, then not only are your faculty going to get engaged in those kinds of pursuits, they in turn are going to inspire students and groups of students to get inspired in those pursuits. So we have student teams, for example, made up of students from engineering, from psychology, from business, from law, working together in solving a particular problem, right? And you come up with new conceptualization. We don't have many departments typically that people have, because we abolished those departments. We said, let's think in terms of broader constructs. So we have a school of human evolution and social change. Okay. We have a school of life sciences, right? We have a school of future for the innovation in society, a new school that we birthed, a school of sustainability, the first one in the nation. All of these conceptualization helps you to think outside the box.
It's really interesting to me because even the names of the schools already indicate how interdisciplinary their work is.
Correct. Correct. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. It frees people up to not feel I am this. Is that they can explore, but you have to be careful because when you do this, you also have to make sure that your rewards, recognitions, promotions, merit raises, whatever it is, they are all aligned with the same thinking. Because sometimes what happens is institutions want to be that, but they will still reward and recognize people in terms of what they did only in that discipline. Now what happens is, guess what happens? People will simply still fall in line because they'll say, well, I did all of these things. I created a company. I created so many products, prototypes that industry licensed, all of that. But nobody recognized me for that. They still are looking for that paper that I published in that particular conference or journal. So you need to make sure that you give the broad exposure to of opportunities and exposure as well as recognition as they move forward.
I wanted to ask you also a question about, I guess we have a question from one of our viewers on Facebook. How does one deal with financial planning and
fiscal prudence
while
studying abroad? That's a very smart question.
Because this is a very real concern for a lot of Indians. To study abroad means to go to an expensive country.
Correct. Correct. No, it's a very, very good question. Whoever asked that, kudos to you. You're thinking outside the box. So here is my suggestion for you. You look at your own financial means. Okay. You look at in the broad swath of universities that you have. Okay. You have a variety of opportunities for you in terms of the financial structure, in terms of what it takes for you to finish a degree in XYZ institution. So you have a range of possibilities there. So you pick the one that you think matches that. But be mindful of the fact that when you go to university in the United States, you will have opportunities to work on campus. And if you're really, really good, even as you're doing an undergraduate degree, you'll get internships to do in companies that there's an opportunity for you. If you have the skill set, if you have the drive, if you have the energy, if you have the passion, you will have opportunities to earn while you study your degree. You go through your degree program. Therefore, it's all up to you. I'm not saying, therefore, you will not have any debt at all. But don't focus on the debt, but focus on the fact that you're getting a world-class educational experience, which very soon will get you a career that you will pay these debts off in no time, okay, in a few years. This is how students in the United States think. It's not something that's only for students who are coming from India. In the US, for example, most students, they work 1 job, 2 jobs, sometimes more than that, and that broadens them, that builds them into a person that is more than just being just in the academic environment. So take advantage of those kinds of opportunities. And then if it is something that research that makes you excited, then you will work in a research lab and they will pay you some stipends for that. They may or may not cover your entire educational expense when you come abroad, but they will defray some of the expenses. But by and large, you can be rest assured that if you did well, you are bound to be able to get a job that helps you pay back all of these things. But make sure that your budget and your planning matches what is out there as choices for you, because one of the things that is fantastic about the United States is you have so many options of universities and programs, and so it's up to you to be able to find the right university for you with the right budget that you can afford or you think that you can, and then match it all up. And again, BrainGain can be very useful there. You talk to a lot of people, it gives you the plethora of opportunities, you're able to zero in on that. So make use of such platforms that gives you the ability to be able to do this more easily than the traditional way of reading a book or going to a library and looking at a Peterson's guide or something like that. That's old school, right? So you have much more real-time information that is available to you.
Yeah.
So you should take advantage of those. I hope I answered the question.
I think that was certainly very helpful and very clear. Can you also tell me a little bit about, we've talked about how the university's place is to foster the spirit of innovation and enterprise, the entrepreneurial thinking among students. How can we, what can we do to improve or build the ties between large institutions like ASU, is the largest in the US, right, in terms of student enrollment. And then, so to build ties between universities like yours and universities here, what are the kinds of things? Can you give me some idea about how ASU is reaching out, around the world to foster such ties, and especially in India, because this is where I think one of the country that sends out one of the largest numbers of students abroad.
Absolutely. So the answer to your question is, we form strategic partnerships with universities across the globe which think like us, which are not bound by, I have to be this brand or this thing or this name. Instead, we take the approach of, instead of chasing the brand, we become the brand. And how do you become the brand? Because you set your own charter, your own mission, your own way of doing things, which is, creative, innovative, and that's why we were named the most innovative university, is that you do things differently that people would want to emulate and not be stuck up in this brand, in being XYZ high brand university, okay? And so we look for universities which think like that. So we have strategic partnerships, for example, Dublin City University in Ireland, which think like us. We recently announced the alliance between 3 universities, King's College London and University of New South Wales and ASU, called the Plus Alliance. P for Phoenix, L for London, small u for University, S for Sydney. The Plus Alliance. So we bring our assets together because all 3 universities are looking to see how we might team up together and address global challenges, provide opportunities for students across the globe to get the highest quality education experience and be very entrepreneurial in their thinking. So we therefore look for partners who think like that, who want to be different, who want to serve society, who want to inspire the youth, and those are kinds of things that we look for in partnerships. So anybody who has that kind of a partnership interest, we of course would be happy to talk to them. We want to make sure that they are also committed to solving global grand challenges. That's something that is part of our psyche, so that's something that we look for in our partners too.
That's great. What would you say are India's strengths and weaknesses in terms of fostering this spirit of independent thinking, interdisciplinary, innovative thinking, and entrepreneurial atmosphere in education? You've already mentioned about the kind of training that you received in India, which prepared you to go abroad. But as you said, you were also surprised by certain, features of North American education. So what would you say we are doing now, and what do we need to do? What do you think about, things like Jugaad and, the culture that we do have, and how it can be built, and what is missing also?
Yeah.
And how perhaps even, people like you could fill that gap.
Thank you for asking the question. So again, my feeling is that we have got an outstanding set of institutions, like the IITs, the Indian Institute of Science, many technical institutions all over the country. They do a fantastic job, okay, in terms of delivering the curriculum. But what I find more that we might want to do is to let our students exercise their independence, give the environment for them to express their creativity, give them the opportunities to be able to now take courses that is not necessarily only in their disciplines, free them up a little bit so they can take courses not only inside that institution. For example, if it is an IIT, and if they don't have a particular discipline in the IIT campus, that they're able to go and take a course outside and still be able to get credit for the course back at IIT. So they may then take the liberty of going out and doing that, right? It can be an art school for all you care, that they want to go and do an arts course somewhere else because it's world class or whatever it is that they think that they want to do. So free them up in that sense. And then increasingly I find institutions providing entrepreneurial environment for people to be able to do that.
Yes.
But the only thing I would say that we can do more in India is do this at scale. See, if you look at the number of institutions that do these things, there are institutions that are fantastic here. Let's be very clear about it. We should infuse more research into those institutions. That's something that we need to do more of. Get more highly qualified faculty members who can be inspiration to students again, more of those folks also. But even with all of that, it still is a very small portion of the population of the country that requires that level of education and inspiration that they need to have. These are highly talented children and youth that we need to see how we can scale this. This is where Arizona State University has done a good job. Is we have done access and excellence and impact all together simultaneously. While we increased our student population to 72,000 students, okay, and another 26,000 students online, right, about 100,000 students in total. At the same time, our research volume, which was $100 million a year, is now $500 million a year. We are ranked in the top 10 institutions without a medical school in the leagues of MIT, Caltech, Georgia Tech, and so on, in terms of research expenditures. We are ranked 6th in the nation among all the 800 plus universities, right? We are ranked 6th in social science research, right? So the reason we are able to do this is because there's a focus on achieving excellence at the same time as providing access. In other words, the constant rub that people have is if you scale, somehow the quality will fall down. That is not necessarily the case. Scale and excellence can both coexist. In fact, I would argue that they can in fact highly be synergistic and mutually reinforce each other. And so this is something that we need to think in order for India to be able to take the large numbers of fantastic talent and to give them the opportunities to be successful in their career endeavors and contribute to the society. And I think that requires a different kind of a mindset. And I'm very thrilled by Prime Minister Modi's initiatives because I think, when I look at a digital India or when I look at, startup India or when I look at, initiatives like smart cities and so on, these are fantastic initiatives. It's going to bring the youth to get excited by something that they can contribute to. These are the kinds of things. But then when the Prime Minister unveils these things, how do institutions now take that and work with that vision, the grand vision, and create those structures and programs and environments and ecosystems to be able to be successful for the youth? That's something that we need to do more of, and I'm hoping that will happen in the very near future.
Wonderful.
So
I hope so. Thank you so much for taking time. I know you have a very busy schedule.
Thank you.
While you're here. Thanks very much.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.